I do remember feeling very different, I think, from everybody, and that became more and more obvious as I got older. But it was never my thought that I was autistic. Forgetting a train of thought while you're speaking, and then having to go back to what was it we were talking about? What did I just say? They have managed their own situations. What was the question again? And it was like an exorcist moment.
Oh no.
And the whole room was just showered. Did I come across like really rude?
It's very peoply.
But it's peoply.
Yeah, so
it's quite hard work, really. Yeah. T-Rex arms.
Who's going to pick?
Are you going straight into the hat?
I think so. I don't know.
Well, it's a safety net, isn't it? The hat is a safety net, the faux hat.
Yeah.
Let's go then.
So let's begin with one of those.
So because if we don't, we'll probably hit one of the subjects, and that's the next one we put out.
Yeah, by the way. So we've got your achievements obtaining a master's degree and your progress with your PhD.
Right. Okay. So what do you want to know about that? How I managed it?
Everything and anything, really.
A bit bonkers, yeah.
Yeah. Because like a degree is a massive achievement.
Yeah, well, I think I muddled through my first one, really. My first degree was in animation because I wanted to be a storyboard artist. And I had to have lots of help. My sister actually helped me write my dissertation because I didn't know where to begin with all of that, and I was undiagnosed at the time, so it was a real struggle. And I think I went to do my master's to kind of prove to myself that I could do it.
Yeah.
And I really like education. I have a little bit of a collection of certificates, which I suppose kind of feeds into the autism, really, of being able to jump from subject to subject.
All right.
Constantly. But yeah, I like a certificate, and that would have been a good one. So
do you tend to jump straight into it and it goes all over the place, or is it this is the one I'm doing now and that's where I am focused, and then I'll do this one?
All that, well,
or a mixture of all.
It can be, because I did have like a few certification things on the go at one time, but yeah, my master's was the big one, so that was a big focus really for me. So I really wanted to do that. It was because I started that around the time of my diagnosis, so I think it was kind of helpful for me to use the research for that degree to kind of research how my new diagnosis was going to affect me, and kind of what that meant for me, and what it meant for other people as well. So it was a big kind of self-exploration, which was kind of wrapped up in the nice bow of doing my master's.
Sure.
So yeah, when I finished that, I was just kind of hungry for more knowledge, and I'm not sure whether it's really good or completely insane that I've taken on my PhD now, because I struggle with reading and but research is obviously what it's all about, so I'm going to do a hell of a lot of that. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm a little bit slower than everyone else, but luckily now that I've got my diagnosis, they've kind of managed to put all of those good things in place for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so so far it's going well, I think.
That's good.
I think.
When do you think you're going to complete it?
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a PhD, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what's the PhD in?
Well, technically it's in life sciences.
Right.
Because what I'm studying is like the experiences of tattoo artists, and I'm doing that through like drawing. So it's there's a big element of fine art to it as well, obviously. Yeah. So so I'm going to be drawing people's hands. I have a big thing about hands, and so I'm kind of looking at how I can reflect people's experiences through their hands.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. And that's obviously with the project in your hands.
It certainly is. Yeah, it all feeds into the. I think over the years I've kind of managed to make all of my projects come together.
Yeah.
Because I've tried to kind of point everything towards each other so I don't get to adrift, because it's so easily done. Yeah.
Okay. And how many have you been working on in your hands project for?
Well, I suppose technically it started kind of over lockdown, just after, because that was where I had started my degree, my master's degree, and then I was where I was exploring my own experiences, it then sort of developed into me exploring other people, and so that was where this In Your Hands project really began, was where I started talking to other people and kind of comparing our experiences and seeing how they were similar and how they were very different, and it was really kind of fun to learn about people, which is something I absolutely love. So it's been going on then maybe about 4 years, it must be then. So
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So how do you put the story into the picture of their hands? Do you draw their hands literally, or there's a lot more imagination behind it and information from what they're giving you?
That's a real tough one, actually. I'd say that it was probably a bit of both, because when I interview these people, I feel like perhaps their experiences and their stories kind of come through into the artwork, because when I'm creating it, I'm often thinking about the interview and reminded of kind of the things that we spoke about during that time, and with the kind of where I get their reference images through photographs. Often they're either holding something that's significant to them, or I position them in a particular way that feels comfortable for them, and so their story kind of is created by what positions they choose, or kind of what comes out of them naturally. So even though most of it is drawn straight from these reference images, I feel like they've already portrayed that story, and I'm just highlighting it, if you like.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's very interesting. I wanted to ask that question last time, but it's so really fascinating. It's a very good one. Very good. And this is all going towards a charity, I believe, once you've doing an exhibition.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to set up In Your Hands as a charity of its own. And then I'm hoping to be able to kind of get a big collaboration project with lots of neurodivergent artists to come together, create prints of their work, and then any sales of that work will be donated back into other art projects or organisations that will help divergent artists.
Yeah, that's great.
Forward, yeah.
And you got some big names on there already.
It's not too bad at the moment. Yeah.
Are you allowed to name drop yet or not?
I suppose so, because technically they've kind of they've taken part already, and they've donated their time and their hands. So I suppose I can say that I've got Anne Hegarty.
Yeah, great.
And Sean Cronin, which often I say that and people are like, where would I have seen Sean Cronin? But actually, he's a villain in movies. And he's in Bond movies, and he's in Mission Impossible. You'd know him if you saw.
Yeah. It's one of the things.
And he's he's a director as well, so he's doing really well. And so I've got a few good people involved, but I'm hoping for more.
Yeah, Anne Hegarty must have been good fun though, because she's got quite a bubbly character, hasn't she?
Yeah, she was really interesting. Yeah, really lovely lady. So hopefully we'll get more out of her.
Did she come dressed like a prison warden?
I didn't get to meet her, unfortunately, but so we had to do it online. But
of course,
she's a busy bee.
Yes, I can quite imagine.
Yeah.
How did you find starting up your own business?
I found that much easier than working for someone else. I think my first jobs kind of included, I worked at a shoe shop, and I worked at Superdrug, and I've done all of the kind of retail stuff when I was young, and I just couldn't hold a job down because I am not very good at authority. Sounds awful, doesn't it? Oh my God. I'm not very good at not being in charge.
Yeah.
So me creating my own business, I think, has been a big help, and that feeds into the, creating your world.
Yeah.
And so I found it quite easy. I know that a lot of people kind of struggle with starting their own business because it's a big step and all of that malarkey, isn't it? And you don't have any kind of guaranteed income, but
yeah, that's kind of the gamble with it, isn't it? And just literally putting everything and it's making sure you're doing the right decisions, right research. So there's so much behind it.
Yeah. Well, I
It's not
think I
straightforward.
would be more concerned if I decided to do that today than I was then. I was a bit sort of blasé about it, and looking back is just madness, really. But I've always kind of been interested in starting my own businesses, and I've got several on the go because obviously I can't stick to one thing ever. And so I love it. I could not be employed.
Yeah.
But I found it quite easy personally, starting a business, doing a lot of research into things and kind of making things how I want them to be.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that. It's nice to be the decision maker and move things forward. Like, I've held down a lot of management jobs in the past over many years, and I found once I'm there, I'm making decisions, and there's a reason why I'm making these decisions, and I know they're going to work because I've trialed this, I've analysed that, and it's when someone else just comes up with something completely random and they suggest it to me if I'm not in charge, then I've become, you probably know at work, I become quite objective very quickly. Because I just need to trust me bloody man.
Yeah. Well, it's irritating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. And unjust when people force their kind of, you need to do this. And I like to be that person.
Yeah. Yeah, the receiving end's not as much fun. It's that, or they don't explain it. And you just kind of, they've gone off because they told you what they want, and you're just like, I have no idea what you actually want.
Need clarity.
Yeah. Didn't explain that right for me. That might have made sense to you, but I have no idea what you just said.
Yeah, so that's different.
Yeah, did you go down the normal or that traditional route of write the business plan and do all that, or was it just like, I'm just going to do it my way and this is the way to do it?
I couldn't write a business plan.
No.
If I tried, my brain just does not work that way. I make lists.
Yeah.
And mostly make it up as I go along. Or if I don't know how to do it, I'll either learn or I outsource.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm a doer and I make things happen. So, yeah.
Yeah, good, positive.
But I just force my way in. Yeah.
What's your worst client experience? So,
crikey.
tattoo somebody, or who was an absolute nightmare?
God, an absolute nightmare. That's a really difficult one. Because there's been so many.
Did you have that?
That's not what I heard.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of all the horror stories that I've had. Because there's just been endless. I suppose when you work with a lot of people, you know, you get these moments and they always stick with you. I had a lady, I think, it wasn't her first tattoo. She was having just like something on her forearm, and I think I was about 3 lines in, she started feeling faint. I was like, oh dear. So I laid her down, you know, went to go and get her a lolly and a drink and all the things that she needs to kind of make herself feel better.
Yeah.
And I came back in and she was like, I don't feel well. I was like, okay, so, you know, do you want to go to the bathroom? Yeah, but she didn't make it that far. She sat up and it was like an exorcist moment.
Oh no.
And the whole room was just showered.
Oh, dear.
And I'm not very good with that kind of thing.
No.
So I was left, as you do, and then I got my apprentices to clean it all up. Because they're braver than me. Not because I'm an evil boss, I swear, it's just because I couldn't handle it.
That would be a rough one.
Yeah, so that's pretty hideous. And then I had to finish the tattoo.
Do you have a screamer?
Pardon?
Anyone screaming?
Anyone screaming?
Yeah.
There's always people screaming, but that's usually for piercing.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, for piercing people scream. But yeah, it's not often these days really that you get screamers, or you know, I've had quite a lot of fainters. It was always men, always men, and I always have to catch them because they always faint forward. But no.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because a lot of people say it's painful. I think there's an element of pain. What everyone says, there's an element of pain there. Obviously, there's a needle going in that's been basically dragged through your skin.
Yeah.
So there's going to be pain there, but it's how you tolerate the pain, how you received it, I guess. And also down to hypersensitivity of sort of skins when the area has been done, I suppose.
Yeah,
There's
that's
a lot
it.
of factors.
But it's usually at the very beginning, so I think it's adrenaline that does everyone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always just think it's like the outlines to me was the worst sort of part of it. And once they started
Agreed.
filling everything, then I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you have any tattoos you regret?
No.
Good. Have you done any tattoos on other people that you regret?
Not that I've regretted. They have. I've put tattoos on and taken them off or covered them over. But nothing really sticks in my mind that's been that horrendous, really. I mean, I'm covered in tattoos, and I've got some that I've covered over and things, but I wouldn't say I regret them because they're all part of my story and they're all the time of my life. I definitely have moments where I wish I wasn't so tattooed, which is probably quite controversial, really, for me, isn't it? But I think that there is still a lot of stigma with tattoos, and I think that in certain situations people don't take me seriously because of them. Sometimes I wish I was a little bit less tattooed in certain scenarios. But that's about it, really.
Yeah.
So I think like the expectation of a tattoo artist is we're going to have lots of tattoos.
You've got to wear the uniform.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be a bit bizarre actually going
It
to a
would,
tattoo parlour and the person's going to tattoo you's got none at all.
Yeah.
It'd be like,
Well, in this context, that's perfectly fine for me to be covered. But when I go for business meetings and things where I'm trying to further my art career and things, you do get judged. I think it's just human nature, and certainly the way things have been for a really long time, and so trying to get rid of that isn't going to happen anytime soon. I think certain situations make things a bit awkward.
No, I can understand that. So with tattoos thing, because I've sort of tried to be a bit of an artist myself before, but how do you get that onto someone's skin? Because that must be so much. There's no real practice, is it? You just got to go for it.
Well, you've got fake skin. That's how you practice. It's you've seen like the that sort of plastic cheese that you get.
Yes.
It's like that. And you'll get a big slab of yellow that feels like rubber cheese, and you practice on that. So that's how you learn how to tattoo. And obviously on skin you have transfers, so you just follow it, and I suppose being an artist helps that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is an entirely different medium to learn. It does take time to kind of get there because it's terrifying.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So that first one being quite difficult.
Oh, it was on my sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, so luckily, it was somebody I knew.
A forgiving person,
Yeah, but
I always wondered that, because it's not only that, you've gone from like a pen or a paintbrush to something quite big, isn't it? And totally different.
It is entirely.
And then while they're kind of bleeding all over your lines and things, and you're constantly having the kind of.
Wow, you make it sound so brutal. God, it's not that
really
bad.
selling it.
Bleeding that badly, and I'm not doing my job right.
I remember my early tattoos, they were like that.
How long ago was your last tattoo?
Oh, my last one, how long ago? Oh, crikey, 30 odd years ago.
Yeah,
Easy.
that's probably why then, because things were brutal a long time ago.
I just remember it after a few lines and then wipe all the blood off and the excess ink, and then carry on for a little bit, then wiping it back off. But so perhaps they was painful nowadays.
Oh dear.
Painting a bad picture on
Oh, yes.
Actually, you've told the world now how far you've moved forward with it, and it's so much better.
There is that. Yeah.
That's cool. I like the idea of practicing more fake skin though, because never realised. I just thought you just got it just one day. I know you can get the transfer bit, so you got your lines, basic lines. I just thought you just go for it one day.
Dive in one day.
Yeah.
Well, plus people have got to sit right as well, isn't it? If they're stretching their skin in certain ways, then when they suddenly move, it can really distort it.
It can, but that's why you kind of stick the transfer on when they're in a resting position.
Right.
Or, stood up straight, or whatever angle you kind of need first, and then once you stretch that, it's going to go back to something sensible.
That's interesting. That's good to know.
Yeah.
The In Your Hands project, what was your motivation and inspiration behind the project?
Okay,
I know we
so
kind of touched this one already, haven't we?
We did mention
we
into
kind
it,
of
yeah.
swung into that, but yeah.
we did a little, yeah. So I suppose the In Your Hands project started just sort of after lockdown, when I was exploring my experiences of my autism diagnosis, and I wanted to explore other people's experiences of diagnosis and kind of how they have managed their own situations. That kind of developed then into it's developed into kind of wanting to add to the support pool, I suppose, I guess. And I don't want to say awareness, because everybody knows that autism exists and they know, how it works. But I think a better word would probably be, I don't know if even understanding is the right word, because I've heard that bandied around an awful lot as well. But I think the reason that I wanted to kind of do this was, I suppose the end reason is that I want to support neurodivergent artists, and I want to give them opportunities that perhaps wouldn't normally be available. I also am doing it because I want to learn about other people and their experiences, and because I love learning about people and I love hearing all their stories, and everybody's absolutely fascinating. But also I kind of want to give the opportunity to neurotypicals to kind of have that opportunity to learn about a different world. And I know that you can just, you could just learn about it online, or you could, attend these conferences and such, and learn about it that way. But I think that kind of looking at individual experiences is how you can kind of create a bigger picture, because it is so different for everybody. And I think that it humanises it as well. And I think I just want that opportunity to kind of get that out there, and for people to think, or actually I want people to care about it. And I think it's very hard to get people to care in all kinds of situations, and care enough to kind of make adjustments for people, or just to ask them about stuff to do with their lives and their situation. I think there's lots of different tiny reasons to why I want to do this project, but overall I want to be part of the bigger picture.
Yeah. Good answer.
Yeah.
Thanks, that was hard to come up with all the reasons, because there's so many. That's the thing. I think, learning about people's experiences has really made me want to learn more and keep going with it. So,
people's stories, I must admit, I enjoy listening to people's stories a lot. I think, like I say, everyone's different, everyone's so interesting, and everyone's kind of got something to say, which is I'm a big listener.
And giving people that chance to have something to say is a big thing.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I know what you're saying about the autism awareness. It seems to be the big word which everyone says, but unless you speak to people with autism, and like you say, because so many people are different, that into different areas of the spectrum, shall we say, that it is very different, and you can't just have a neurotypical person teaching you about autism and getting it right, in my view. I don't get it.
I was thinking about it then. I think it's a bit of a strange one, because I don't know if you go more down a medical route. I think that's where it's diagnosis is very clinical terms. And while there are diseases that follow a certain pattern, they're not exactly the same for everybody, and they might experience it slightly different. But I think that path is quite narrow, in that this is what it's going to do. Whereas with neurodiversity, that there isn't a path. There's just an open field with lots of people running around in it. So you can't take that same clinical approach with it. And I think that's where sometimes we fall down a little bit, that we try and pigeonhole it into this, something more medical, when it kind of needs that idea about it, but you can't look at it the same way. Maybe, I don't know.
It sounded good.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you find shopping in general, and especially supermarkets? Well, this is a little more light-hearted, isn't it? How do I find shopping? It's quite up and down for me. I wouldn't say that I hate shopping, because if there's something I actually want or need, I don't mind shopping. But it is quite overwhelming because, like you said earlier about everything being so peoply.
Yeah.
Peoply sucks, doesn't it? Because everyone's in your bloody way. And I'm assuming supermarkets because of like lights and.
I put supermarkets because I just absolutely hate supermarkets. That's my personal.
Yeah, we often talk about that. No, I don't like supermarkets either.
Yeah, I don't mind them. I think I'm one of those people who's all right, I suppose, as long as it's short and sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to think of anything specific really, but.
So sort of going around shopping in Colchester, for instance, because obviously the precincts can get quite busy. And are you okay with that?
I can pick my days that I kind of do that, I suppose, because I'm up here. Obviously being in the centre of town and being up here is quite quiet, and I can look out of the window and see how busy it is, and I think not yet. I think it can be really overwhelming, but sometimes I can cope with it if I know what I need to get.
Yeah.
Or I'll give up halfway through it and vanish. So. Yeah.
So you're not a window shopper then?
No, not really. No.
I think I'm kind of lucky because my partner is like me. She knows what she wants and she knows exactly where to get it. She's researched for other things, so we can just go here, go there, get that. She wants to try it on, buy it, go. And to me, if you don't know what you're buying, wait, I don't get it.
No, that's their plans. The purpose is to go to shops to buy.
Yeah. Not like I need to spend some money, so I'm just going to stroll around for the next 3 hours and stress myself out for no reason. Yeah, I don't get that. But
yeah, I think I'm a bit dull with that one, I'm afraid. It's just...
no, that's all right.
I can cope and sometimes I can't.
Yeah.
I think it's what it boils down to is understanding yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, you can kind of build your world around what you're comfortable with. So
yeah. I think majority of people get frustrated with supermarkets anyway, and so my partner works every weekend, so I'll do the shopping on one Saturday when she's at work. But because I drop her off at 7:30 in the morning, it's perfect because there's no more than about 5-10 people in the whole store, so I can just take. I don't even take the time.
No,
I'm still racing through it. But busy times, no. I take the trolley and she's trotting behind me half the time. So I've memorised that list at home. I know where it's going. I know all the aisles out there. I've got this whole thing. I'm just there, ding, 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 get out. The lesser known traits of autism.
Right. Okay. Well, I've made a list.
Yeah.
Of course I have, because lists are my life. So, right, okay, let's begin. Right, cupboard doors. I don't know if you've heard of any of these.
It's going to be leaving them open.
Yes, it is.
I don't do that, but I know someone. We should throw my wife under the bus here, but yeah, she does that.
Amazing. Yes, I get constantly told off for leaving cupboard doors open everywhere, and I didn't know that was a thing until more recently. But it is. It's a thing. So yeah, cupboard doors.
I must admit that.
Yeah, I'd never made that connection.
No, they got
it said that, but as soon as you said cupboard doors, I knew exactly where that was going.
That's why you always need an example, isn't it, of things?
Yeah.
Constant clarity, and that whether or not that is kind of trying to over-explain yourself all the damn time to everyone to make sure they don't get you wrong, or whether or not you ask the other person, can you explain that a bit more so I don't get you wrong, because you're constantly worried about misinterpreting.
Oh, right,
Yes. Doom piles. Heard of doom piles?
I haven't, no. It sounds interesting.
Well, that's where you have, like, maybe you have bills, pieces of paper, books, whatever you're doing at the time, and they all end up on a pile, and they're all really important piles, but you never go back to them. Or sometimes you do, because you might go back to them, but then you start creating a new pile of the things you're doing currently, and then you end up with loads and loads and loads of different piles around the house. Yeah, never tidy them away. Because you might need it.
Yeah.
You know, it's organised chaos.
Yeah, I could get that. Oh, we kind of have a drawer at home, which just everything kind of goes in there. And
Everyone's got that drawer, yeah.
Yeah, once a year that'll get pulled out and I'll just pick it up and put it into my bin and close it again, ready for the next year. Oh.
Well, that's good. That's awfully good of you. Wow. Do you not go through it? You just empty the drawer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God.
I can't go through it all because I just don't want to. You just go. I haven't looked through it for the last 6 months, 8 months or so. I'm not going to look at it tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
impressive. Mine is that, but my time frame's much longer. It's been there for 3 years or so, and I've never looked at it. And yeah, that could go.
Oh, the world of the internet today and paperless everything is an absolute dream for me.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can just access everything I need.
Paper. That's the trouble. I still have a paper diary, and I make notes. I have about 30 notebooks on the go. Or I have some notebooks that I've never written in. Stationery is,
okay.
I would say, probably another trait that is lesser known.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I haven't heard that.
I can't avoid the stationery aisle in any shop, and I always like to buy things I don't need and will probably never use. But it brings me pleasure.
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
A new notepad.
Yeah, you're with me there. Parallel play or coexisting. So you just have to exist in the same room as someone else, and you manage to get things done. You're more productive if you've got somebody else in the room, even if they're just doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Or body doubling, where you've got somebody who's talking in the background. It's like when you have the telly on, or something in the background, just because then that makes you able to kind of function a bit better.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I get that. Definitely, because if I'm sitting there playing a game or whatever on my phone or doing something on that, then I'll always have the TV running at the same time and quite often talking to someone else. I kind of find that. But if I just turn the TV off...
Yeah, dealing with silence is difficult. It's like, yeah. So doing like uni work or anything like that, have to have music playing. Yeah. It's always got to be there.
You can hear electric.
Such a subtle buzz of everything.
You can hear all kinds of different things that people can't. I mean, I think that's probably a better known trait, is being able to hear things, but specifically electric. Can you kind of hear the buzz of lights or the buzz of the fridge going?
Dripping taps.
Oh, dripping is you.
Yeah.
Right.
So in my house, I would know. I'd sit there sometimes, even with the telly on, and like, I can hear something. And I tell my wife, and she looks at me like I'm absolutely crazy, but I can go upstairs and one of the taps will be dripping. Electricity, I don't know, but yeah.
I think I've got a little bit of tinnitus. I think through my days in the army.
Yeah.
Bang, and I think that's all I hear. When everything's quiet.
Hating making phone calls. I don't know if that's something for either of you, but yeah.
Used to be. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of bits on that list, I think, yeah. I know that I used to do the over-explaining thing. That was a hard one to break. You kind of think, yeah, they've already said yes, but I'm still trying to sell it to them as to why I made this decision because. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but the reason I did it was that. And I had to really notice that myself to stop that bit from happening.
Yeah, well, you've reminded me of something else actually by saying that I remember when I was at university, somebody had said to me, "You're really good at, answering questions, but you never ask questions back." Yeah. So apparently not asking about the other person is like a big thing. And so I've had to learn how to do a conversation, a back and forth conversation, and remember to keep asking about other people.
Yeah, I got called out for that in my old workplace. Yeah, somebody always said, "Good morning, how are you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine, thanks." And then I would carry on because I answered the question. And one day, it's like, it's polite to actually ask the other person how they are. And
these things that you learn, it's very odd, isn't it? When you realise.
Yeah, but making phone calls was another one. It was just fear of making the phone call. Yeah. I managed to get over that one as well. Yeah,
I've kind of got over that now. But yeah, that used to be a big thing, not being able to call anyone. Forgetting a train of thought while you're speaking. And then having to go back to, what was it we were talking about? What did I just say? I mean, I literally do that, like mid-conversation. Or somebody's told me something and I've completely forgotten and they have to tell me again. They've told me they're going out and doing something. And then I'm like, well, where are you going? No, I just told you that I'm going to do this. Did you? Gone. It's just gone. Wiped.
I do it the other way around. I do it sometimes with listening. When people are talking to me, I've had to be honest to people before and go, I know that you were talking to me then, but I didn't listen to a single word you said. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Because my brain's just started going off on a different track.
Auditory processing.
Yeah.
That's just...
I think I must be so rude to say that to someone, but I've just learned to be honest with them now. Sorry.
Well, it can go the other way as well, though, can't you? You can have the most amazing memory. It's like extremes of one to the other. You got, yeah. I wish I had the other one. Constant project changing. So your interests, hobbies, projects, constantly next, the next, and you have to, it kind of consumes you, and you have to buy everything that's to do with this new project because this is the one. This is going to be it now. You know, and this is going to be my career. This is just going to be my whole identity now for probably a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's quite amazing, little. I like that.
Yeah. It sucks. It's very expensive.
I can imagine. Yeah.
T-Rex arms. Yeah, often find yourself all sort of, with your arms up here, whether you're holding something, or it might be a phone or something, but everything's all nipped in.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay.
These are probably things you might notice yourself doing after you've been.
Yeah.
Because I thought, I don't do that. I do.
Yeah.
Bloody do. Yeah, and cricket feet. When you're laying down or in bed or something, and you've got to move your feet or rub your feet together, or you're always doing something.
Yeah.
You can't ever be still.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But then I ran out, so I haven't got any more now. Couldn't think of any more, but I'm sure that there's so many ridiculous little things.
They're good though.
That's going to be an ongoing thing. I think we might start a list on that and just
Totally
continuously add to it. The more
Yeah.
people we speak to and see how big that list gets.
Yeah, I bet it's huge.
Yeah. We'd have to, loads of people just going to be reading that list and go, oh, I've got to go and get it today.
Yeah.
We might get in trouble for that.
That's it. I think it's when you find out these ridiculous little things that you think, oh my God,
Yeah.
people don't do this.
Yeah, it's, you get those. And the big one, I think, is when people learn that not everybody has like an internal monologue in their head talking.
That is
There's like half
scary,
the
isn't it?
population that don't actually hear anything at all. They just visuals, so pictures a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you first realise that, God, people don't hear that.
No,
do
my
exist.
brain never stops. I think first thing in the morning, that's what wakes me up, is that I have all of the questions and all of the answers of humanity all at once. And yeah.
Happens to a little boy when he's going to bed. That's when I used to find it happen to me.
Yeah.
As soon as you lay down to go to sleep, every question that you could possibly think of would
that's
start
it.
running in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's very much like that. It takes me ages to just like, just go to sleep, mate.
Hideous. Yeah.
Confusing. That's for sure.
It is, yeah, because you get invasive thoughts of awful things, or, you know, your whole day you reprocess, and then you're just like, did I say something stupid? Did I offend someone? Did I do this? Did I do this? And then, or from something from 5 years ago, why did I say that to that person? You know, it's always hideous things. I never think you have all these fabulous memories and fabulous ideas and wonderful. No, it's always, what did you do that for? Why did you do this? Oh God, it's all about the cringe.
Brave